I'll just begin by welcoming all of you and thanking you. Although we do not have all of our area directors participating, Liz Tesro is Area 1 Director and Teresa Harris is Area 2 Director and also Chair of the PR, Public Relations, Communications, and IT committees. I don't think Victoria and Colleen are on unless they just signed in. So we will, okay. Who just joined us? Okay, well, that's, as you see, we're doing this in an hour and a half. So this is the agenda. We'll be getting some very reports from district committees. Hello? Okay. Irene Orton, our district governor, has been chairing the Centennial Celebration Committee, and we have some information to share from her. I have a wonderful story about a very successful membership event that some of you clubs might want to also use. Zonta International has launched a global membership drive, and I'll give you a little overview of that. And any club presidents can share with us this, one story per club of some successful event that they've had in the past year. And then Teresa Harris will be providing a condensed version of a panel on Zonta and gender equality that she and Victoria and I presented at the face-to-face workshop in Lake George. And then we'll be wrapping up very, very promptly at 11:30. So if you would please mute if you're on the computer. There's a control in the participants list. If you're on a telephone, I think some telephones have mute buttons, some don't. As I said, we are recording the webinar and we will be making that available. If you have questions, you can type in the chat box and I'll try to look at that from time to time. Now, actually, the chat can be private if you select to send it to a single individual. Otherwise, it just goes to the whole group. And to the extent that time permits, we'll have questions and answers after each topic.
Very good.
Okay. And okay, and now okay. Okay, we have updates from our committees. For some reason, the PowerPoint hung up. And for advocacy, we seem to, yes. Oh, I used some animation here that I didn't realize. We've had some good advocacy projects this year, particularly around the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The dates are the same every year. November 25th is the UN's International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. 16 days ends on December 10th. Now really is the time to start planning your club activities.
Marjorie, wonderful. I was able to get in.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Dolly. So you can see the screen?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, good. And you can see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay, good. Amelia Earhart, Susan Senecal of the Schenectady Club is our chair. And we encourage you, although I think you all know that the Amelia Earhart Fellowship is given only at the international level. I think there are some clubs in the district that do a club level Amelia Earhart Award that recognizes a woman's contributions in some ways. Last year in 2016, we had an Amelia Earhart Fellow in District 2 at a university in Montreal. And again this year, there's an Earhart Fellow also in Montreal. So, these are These are good events, and while you can't submit nominations from the club or the district, if you have a university in your area that has a doctoral program in aerospace science or engineering or something related, do let the people know. For club archivist, Edie Benson is playing that role with assistance from Jane McEwen, who was assistant to Betsy Lucci and Rita Cousineau. We learned at the conference in Lake George or the workshop in Lake George, that a lot of clubs don't have a written history, and I have some information about how you can get some guidance if you haven't done a club history. Bylaws and resolutions, that committee is already doing its work. So if you haven't sent something, it's really too late for the coming conference. But if you want some advice, Marty Moore of the Schenectady Club is an experienced and credentialed parliamentarian. And if you want her advice about parliamentary procedures, she can be very helpful, as is our district parliamentarian, Joyce Newkirk. Gloria Riston is our Finance Committee Chair. And for the first time in a very long time, the first time ever, we actually have a committee. So District Treasurer Marianne Morial and Peggy Hurlbert, who is a CPA who specializes in supporting not-for-profits, are members of this committee. And this is just a list of what the Finance Committee does: prepares reports, handles dues increases, provides reports, and you will get the compilation of financial statements that will go on go out as part of the call to conference.
Marjorie, excuse me.
Yes.
Are we supposed to be seeing slides right now?
Yes, you're not?
We are just seeing you, and I see a lot of comments in the chat that they don't see them either. So.
Oh, yep. I can just see you, Marjorie. This is Barbara.
Okay. Well, I thought I had started screen sharing, and evidently I hadn't. Okay.
We can zip through them fast or restart.
Do you see?
Now I see them.
I can see it.
You want to go into slideshow mode.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I was trying to message you. Sorry.
Okay. So we're going to have to blow through this kind of quickly. So that's the agenda, which I went over orally. And we talked about muting, so we're okay with that. And this has just hung up. I don't know why it, okay. And the committee updates talked about advocacy. Talked about Amelia Earhart and the archivist. It just finished bylaws and resolutions, and the Finance Committee. Is somebody trying to speak?
I think it's when you click.
Hello.
Yes. Hello?
Marjorie.
Yes, Val?
Yes, I spent the last half hour trying to get it onto the computer again. I cannot get through. I'm wondering if it's just for the US that the computers work. But I think you told me.
Val, try to get in from what the company sent you and not what Marjorie sent you.
I've got what Marjorie sent me.
No, you can't get in through that.
Oh, so I've wasted half an hour so far. What do I have to do then?
When you registered, that the company sent you a receipt or saying that you are now registered for the District 2 webinar?
I don't think so.
Well, I got in through that. I couldn't get in through Marjorie's note.
Okay,
Well,
Val, the only thing I can tell you, the meeting ID number is 406-498-530. And this is a service that's available internationally. I mean, it's a
yes.
website.
Well, I've used this. This is the number I've had to put in 3 times.
Perhaps Dolly can send Val.
I'm on the phone. You can get in through the phone.
I'm on the phone now as well.
Okay.
We can hear you
So I've
guys.
got the screen with the slides in front of me, and I've got the phone on too, both together.
Good.
You've got the screen on as well.
Yeah.
Well, can I just hang on the phone in the meantime, and I'll keep on trying. But
Yes,
Yeah, sure.
sure, go right ahead.
I've been through this all before, and it just doesn't seem to work.
Okay. We're now at the IT Webmaster PR Communications, Teresa Harris's committee. Teresa, do you want to offer any commentary on that?
Thank you. I think we've got, the new website is up. I hope everybody has seen it. We're expecting that to communicate via the website often, as well as the newsletter. And if you're not receiving a newsletter from the district at least 4 times a year, then you need to go to the website and sign up. Various clubs, almost every single club now has a Facebook, which is neat. I think all but one. And 2 clubs started a Facebook group, which is not the same as a page. So we ask you to change that if you could. And one thing I will announce, that the district communications organization is there to help clubs. I'm interfacing with your club PR chairs, and we just sent out a whole great big package of how to optimize your social media. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is that we can help you with your events. We can make forms for you. We can make flyers for you. So there's no really reason that any club couldn't be on the top edge of technology. So that's all, Marjorie. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Teresa. Jean M. Kuhn Scholarship, those applications have been received and are under review. Good news from Deirdre Deneen, the chair. He has been pushing clubs to submit online, and most are now doing that. Jane M. Klausman, Liz, do you have any further comment?
Actually, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I really don't have anything to report right now. For the first time in my history of doing the Jane Klausman, I'm invited to do a conference call with international and many of the ladies throughout the world, which is kind of interesting for me. Also, on the deadline for the Jane Klausman is approaching quickly. It's July 1st. And for those clubs that are participating, I need to have all the applications sent via email because that's how international has to accept them. So it just makes our life easier than to have to get them by mail and then have to convert them ourselves. So if you guys could do that for me, that'd be awesome. And if you have any questions, just email me and I'll get right back to you. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Liz.
Could I ask, have you received the Ottawa applications?
I have not.
Because Judith has got the results, and I know that she's leaving today to go to Europe. So I'll try to get hold of her.
She probably can get her email. So yeah, if you shoot her an email, Val, that would be awesome. Thanks for reminding her. I did get one interest, and that was Oswego. But they needed my mailing address, but I need to have that email. It used to be both a hard copy and a digital copy, but now they accept just digital.
Liz,
Yes.
this is Marta. I put the hard copy in the mail today, and after this call, I'm going to send it digital. I'm going to send it via email also.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else on JMK? Thanks, Liz. We have a session on membership. So, I'll do a very brief overview of the global membership development. Irene Orton is very faithful about participating in district events. She is, however, on a 2-week trip in Norway visiting family. So, and she asked that we remember that there's a recognition program for Zontians who have introduced 2 or more new members during the current biennium, and there's a deadline coming up next year.
Should we be seeing the screens again?
Pardon? I'm sorry.
No slides, just saying.
No, I can see the slide.
I can see the slides too.
I can see the slides.
Okay.
I can too.
Oh, I see them now.
Okay. Nominating committee, Candace Edwards is chairing. Candace was scheduled to be on the call, so she may be. If you have any ideas about good candidates, please be in touch with Candace or one of the members.
Marjorie, I'm on the call.
Candace, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the call.
Okay, so
I don't know why my picture's not. I can see all of you, but I can't see me, so I'm not sure.
I don't know, do you have your webcam on? Someplace there's a start video, stop video button.
Oh.
Okay, so yes, now we can see you. Hello, Candace.
Hello.
No. Okay, so if you have ideas, she's the lady to talk to.
Okay.
Anything else, Candace?
No, thank you.
Service committee, Gloria Bolesh is chairing this, and she encourages you to make use of the resources on the ZI website and consider presenting your club service project to ZI. There are recognition awards each year or each biennium. And Gloria is available as a resource and is also ready to take suggestions. UN committee, Melina Carnicelli of the Skaneatlas Club is working on that. She is passing along from ZI the recommendation that each club have a project that aligns with ZI's UN goals. And clubs are asked to have a UN committee. I think most clubs, but not all, have that. So do keep that in mind. YWPA, that deadline has just passed, and we've submitted the district nominee to international. So we'll be making that presentation at the conference in the fall. Z and Golden Z clubs, Lisa Atkinson of the Cortland Club is urging clubs to consider running a Z club. At this point, I think we have just 3 in the district, and one for a very long time, the Oneida Club. Actually, I learned earlier this week that Barbara Allen, who's on the call, was a Z Club member before she became a Zontian. And some other members of her club had that same experience. So it's a good way of building interest and providing service opportunities and supporting the leadership development of girls. And 2 members of the Manlius Pebble Hills Z Club presented at a webinar sponsored by ZI. Candace is their mentor, and he reported that they were just thrilled with the opportunity. Don't forget the Zonta International Foundation. Marion Webster is foundation ambassador, assisted now by Nita Murray of the Schenectady Club. And just a quick look at these slides. We're about halfway through the biennium, and we aren't anywhere near halfway to meeting our fundraising goals. So if you haven't done so, consider donating individually, and be sure that your club is following the guideline of a third of its fundraising revenue going to ZI, with 2/3 remaining local. And I think if you have questions or comments, if you let me know, and if somebody could, keep an eye on chat, because I can't, I mean, I suppose there's a way of doing this, but I don't know how to, of simultaneously presenting and watching for chat.
What is chat?
There are two chat questions
What is chat?
from, it's not this,
Val is asking, what is chat? If you're participating by computer, there's an area where you could type in a question that could be seen by other people on the call.
This is Barbara. I'm looking at chat, and once we got the PowerPoint issue resolved, no one else has added anything. So I think we're good there.
Okay, thanks, Barb. And if you would just keep an eye on that. Now,
Barbara, I clicked on chat and now my PowerPoint is gone. How do I get back?
I don't know.
I think you click on it again to close it.
I closed it. But the PowerPoint is not back.
Let's see. I will try. Close. Okay.
Make sure you're full screen.
Yeah.
I'm on a phone screen. Oh, well.
We'll just go on. You'll find it. I did. Mine went away too.
Yeah, look at the top of your screen. Do you see something that says view options? Click there and play with those. That might help.
View option, okay. Original size, no. Okay, go ahead. I'll find it.
okay. We're coming up to Zonta's 100th birthday. That's in 2019. November 8th, 1919 was when Zonta International was established. Each club is asked to develop some sort of event that celebrates the centennial. And while celebrations can begin in 2017, the focus really is on 2019 at the and the Zonta International celebrations will kick off at the 2018 convention in Yokohama, with district celebrations at the district conferences. And there will be some other special events in 2020. There are going to be more resources available. Zonta is setting up a special website just for the Centennial, and they'll be posting a lot of stories. We had an interactive project at the meeting in Lake George where people kind of brainstormed and gave Irene their notes about ideas for Centennial celebrations at the club level. If you have ideas or if you're looking for advice, please be in touch with Irene Orton. If you don't have her email, you can just email her through the district website, through the Lieutenant Governor address. And we do have other participants, Christine Alexander, Kim Snyder, and somehow Ms. Hartman's name was left off, and I'm not sure is it Karen Hartman? I think she's in the Ogdensburg Club. So anyways, we do have a district committee working on it, and these Zontians all have event planning experience. This slide may be a little hard to read, but if you do not have a club history, you can go to the ZI website, go into the membership page. You have to log in using your now new username and password. Go to Tools, go to Centennial Anniversary Tools, and then go down to the box Resources for Historians, and it'll give you a lot of ideas about how to develop a solid club history. And this, actually, rather to my amazement, I think that's about it on the Centennial. I must have talked fast for the committees. Any questions or suggestions about the Centennial before we move on? Okay. And one of the things that we are all concerned about is maintaining and growing club membership, both by bringing new members into existing clubs and by forming new clubs. We, in the last biennium, toward the very end of the last biennium, we chartered the first new club in the district since the 1970s. And we've picked up the pace a little. Amy Quinn, who is on the call, I can see her picture, so she's waving to us. And she got in touch, I think, first with the Glens Falls Club and then with me, and said she'd like to start a club in the Lake Placid area. And Jane McEwen, former district governor, is also chairing the committee, the sponsoring, organizing, mentoring committee. On May 8th, there was a very successful event. Amy, how many participants were there who were, there were several Zontians, but what was the total?
I think it was about 24 people that were there and filled out the form for more information. And then several more have contacted me that couldn't make it that night, probably another 8 people that weren't there that night.
That's great.
Cool. That's fantastic, Amy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the next step would be to hold an organizing meeting where some decisions are made about things like, what would the club dues be? Amy threw out some ideas for a possible club service project to engage people. So that's going on very successfully. And at the club level, we've had an event. This was, I believe, designed by Teresa Harris. Teresa, there's nobody from the Upper Hudson Valley Club. So do you want to talk to us about it? We've got...
As you click the slides, that'll remind me what to say.
Yes, okay, so...
We did a membership bingo, and this was a function. It was just a vehicle to get people present, living and breathing, hand-selected and hand-invited by the club members, with knowing that they would have a heart for women's issues. And we wanted to get them in a room at no charge. And let's just keep flipping, Marjorie.
Okay, there's the event
pictures from it. We had a celebrity caller. You'll see Irene Orton, our membership chair, was the caller. The event chair, Pat Corbett. And at the bottom screen, there were refreshments and beautiful prizes donated by the club. There's myself, I was the MC, and the club Upper Hudson Valley president, Irene Waldorf. Keep flipping. Oh boy, were the people so happy to win prizes. And what we did is we played 3 games of bingo and then gave a commercial. So they had we had 9 prizes. One was a very big one for the end coverall, but the ladies were having a ball. And these slides Irene put together, they were really cool. It was free. This is what she told her club. It was free and it was fun. There was light refreshments. We said something wet, something dry. So there wasn't a lot of, the people attending would learn more about Zonta. Go ahead. In planning, it was important that they got the member commitment and enthusiasm. They set a target number of guests. We asked each member to try to have 6 guests there and to keep asking and inviting until they had 6 yeses. Some of them had even more than 6, and of course some had a few, and it worked out. Drive the numbers. She had a master list, and we started with everybody invited from each club. Anytime you have an event, keep a list of anybody who came, so you have a drawing, a place to start for your guest list. We had friends and family come, and Zonta supporters, anybody that maybe had donated prizes in the past, any past speakers, and this was how they built their guest list. And of course, only a percentage does come, right? All right, so we made it on Facebook. We had people come from Facebook. They also snail mailed an invitation. And then we we were on them like white on rice, saying, who's coming? How are you getting there? Who's coming with you? And we gave them a prize if they brought 3 guests. Okay, so lots of interaction. And at the bingo game, that was important. Marjorie, Governor Lavin was there, and the president and Marjorie, they circulated and got to know the people. They collected any information that they didn't already have at the door prize, and we had a membership table. So that we played the games, 3 games and a commercial, 3 games and a commercial, and then 2 games, commercial, and a last game. We kept it fun, and the commercials were very meaningful. What is Zonta? A lot of people didn't know. What does Zonta mean to me? And for this one, I had a big orange bag, and I pulled different items out that prompted the understanding of what is Zonta. And many people have asked me for more information about this. So shortly on our district YouTube channel, we will have a 2-minute video of that actual presentation. Okay, and yeah, we had a grand prize too, so it was nice. So people were asked to, before the last game, which was a Z. We just did straight bingo all the other games. This one was going to be a Z for Zonta. And this was for the big prize. So everybody wanted to win it. And we asked people to step forward to the front of the room if they knew they wanted to get more information about Zonta. And as a reward, they got the extra bingo card, an extra chance to win the big bingo game. And then I had 8 invitations in my hand printed to the very next meeting of Upper Hudson Valley. And it was like a dozen people who stood forward. I didn't have enough invitations. They floored me. I think we had like 35 present, and 8 said they want, I thought 8 would want to have more information. Well, a dozen. And then I asked them to step forward, take a giant step forward if they were ready to commit today, if they definitely knew Zonta was for them and they were for Zonta. And they all stood forward. I couldn't believe it. So the summary was the next meeting they came. Well, the people who invited, if it was your guest, you were the sponsor. Here's the group of all the people who came forward. And then the people who sponsored them were instructed to get with them before the next meeting and get the membership application filled out and discuss all the details. We even had a young professional, the girl with a scarf, third one from the left, who joined. And at the last meeting, they inducted 7 people. So 7 new members out of, I think they had maybe 12 off the top of my head. So that was kind of cool. And that's it.
And this was remarkable, showing the Upper Hudson Valley Club in March had 12 members. They had, I think that there was one person who dropped out or maybe wasn't able to attend, but they do have 6 new members who came to the April meeting. So that they're really growing the club by 50%.
The person, excuse me, is joining. She just had car trouble, so she's a go also. So they have 7.
Oh, that's great. And what will be really important, and I've talked to the president, and I think Liz has also, that retention, because we don't want a revolving door in a Zonta club. And if you saw, there was a range of ages represented in the group who stepped forward. So this, I think, was a successful event. It was well planned. Every member of the club had to participate, and they really did. It's a small club, but it's very active. And Teresa, you have some other clubs that have asked you to help them plan the same kind of event?
Yes, and I'm happy to help any club, particularly smaller clubs. That would be my first one. So if your club would like to have a membership event, this was a prize from our last conference, and Liz, it was a district prize. So we had Liz, Irene, and Marjorie, and myself at this event. You can't get that kind of star power at the future events. You'll be stuck with me. Maybe we can get Irene Orton to come too, but we have a fully defined set of instructions on how to do it, and we'll be happy to do something for your club. It doesn't take a lot of time to get it together.
Okay, so, and there's the photo again. I think actually the woman in the light blue jacket standing next to the young professional, the scarf, I think is her grandmother. So we also had some multi-generation things going on.
That's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I just want to pop in with a comment from the chat list. It is true that this is being recorded and the PowerPoint will be available later, correct?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and actually, for those of you, Val, you may not have been able to get in. I can send, if you want, I can send you the PowerPoint immediately after this. I won't do it unless you ask, because PowerPoint files are kind of big, and I don't want you to.
I would love it.
Okay, I will do that, Val. And
Thank you.
and if anybody else wants it, and actually, I'm pleased that we are doing okay in terms of time. So, do you have any questions for Teresa about the Zonta Bingo event? And Liz is also on the call, and she was there, and not only helping out but mingling with the members of the public who come to the event. So, any questions?
Am I on?
Yes.
I have a question. It's Susie Smith in Ottawa. Is there another kind of game or activity you could do that wouldn't be bingo?
No.
Because
No,
for
bingo
me,
works.
because I go to, it works, eh? Because in Florida, the only people that go to bingo are old people.
That's what
and
they all
I'm
say.
trying to find something that we can do.
Susie,
But once you do it, you get them, eh?
they all say the same thing. We need a
Okay.
simple game that everybody understands, and this darn thing works. I mean, if you ask me what I want to do on a Friday night, it wouldn't be bingo, but they all come, all different ages.
No.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
I guess the key is free.
Free is a big part of it.
Yeah, and
Free and fun.
Fun is a giant part of it.
Yeah.
Candace has been to bingos that I used to do in my business. And we went from a party of one to a group of 2,000 people. And it was the stinking bingo concept that did it.
Wow.
so, okay. Any other questions or comments?
Maybe that bingo issue is a Central New York thing.
No. It's a global thing.
Well, actually, I was going to ask whether
everybody.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether bingo would be something that Canadians would respond to. I mean, I don't know.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so I guess that's
Canadians like to have fun.
Well, there are lots of ways of having fun.
And make money.
After
So. And have new members. I would love to come to Canada and do something there. Anyhow,
Good.
Okay, you're on.
And I do think that the commercials were very effective, but I think what was also critical is that the group of 12 who are already members in the club really worked at inviting people, following up with them, and it was very impressive. And there's one of the pictures you could see that it was held in the Chatham Firehouse, the volunteer fire department, and so there's a big open area, and they're just very simple, those kind of long rectangular tables and chairs, and the members dressed it up a little bit with tablecloths and so on, but it was very simple. They didn't pay rent for the space, but they really worked very hard at it, and I think that was a critical part of its success.
And it didn't go on forever. We were in and out in a short time, hour and a half. We were done.
And could I ask for a quick description of what one of the commercials?
There were 3 commercials. The first one is, what is Zonta? The second one is, what does Zonta mean to me? And we had 3 testimonials, one from an experienced member, one from a new member, and one who was just growing. And we made sure that one had like the international aspect, one had the friendship and community service, one liked our projects. And then the last, so it was testimonials from real living people. And I thought that was very powerful. And then the last one was, guess what? How do you join? And what's expected of a member? So we kind of gave them all.
Thank you.
Welcome. And this is spelled out in the handout on how to do it.
Okay, great. Well, I had also promised to share some of what Zonta International is providing for its global membership drive. They have developed a variety of materials. I pulled some slides out of a PowerPoint presentation that you can see the whole thing if you go to www.zonta.org and either click on My Zonta or use the address with a /membership. And then you need to log in to get, but if you log into My Zonta and you then go to Tools and then go to Membership Tools, you'll see a lot of materials on the global membership drive. So I just selected a few just to kind of whet your appetite and give you a sense of what's available. Okay, this is a bit small, but if you see, once you've gone to, once you've logged in, so if you go to zonta.org and log in, and then you see this navigation bar, and one of the choices is Tools, and then if you go down to Membership Tools, there's a separate, there's a separate section on the global membership drive. And from that, there are a number of menus. They have coding that there are a number of publications. If you see the first one that's listed there is the PowerPoint that I've drawn from, and there are documents that are kind of advisory. How do we retention, which is a big issue. I mean, we know that we lose at least a third of our new members within the first 3 years of their membership. There are materials on this induction program for new members. I think that sometimes after we induct the new members, we may figure that they just sink or swim, and you're more likely to retain if you really help them to get a thoroughgoing understanding of Zonta and the club. There is even, actually, Irene Orton was quite fascinated. An elevator speech is just, the idea is something that's so brief that you could say it to somebody while you were riding on an elevator. And so even that is suggested. And there are a variety of materials, even a sample press release. So that's on member engagement and retention. There are also recruitment materials, publications. I think Teresa has talked about how anytime we have a Zonta event, we should make note of who's there, follow up with people, and so on. And then there are materials that are available, postcards, flyers. I did actually get a suggestion from Teresa when I made the district report to Zonta International, that maybe having Zonta print these in large volume and making them available. We'll see whether they follow up on that. But right now you can get these materials and you could ship it to, whatever, electronically, forward it to whatever place you used, to print your club materials. And it's a variety. I mean, there are banners that you can use on your Facebook page.
They're so professional and they're so exciting. This is a good summary chart here. But if you were to see these pictures, I have coming out in the next newsletter from the district, we have Irene Orton her husband took 3 pictures of her holding out the material. She got an entire packet of it. And I've been asking ZI to send it to all the clubs, but it is phenomenal. The materials are professional. They get the message across, and I think it's going to be a big, big help for our club to have a unified message. Our clubs, our whole organization, to have a unified message and help with members. If you tune into the district Facebook page, you'll see some of them coming through. And watch for it. There'll be a nice article in our upcoming newsletter.
Okay. And Amy, have you been able to access these materials, or have the Glens Falls club members been able to get them for you? You need to unmute. Amy.
Sorry.
Okay.
I can't access them, but I can get them through Jane.
Okay.
They're
good.
coming. They're coming.
So, okay. And now we have reports from clubs. For the face-to-face workshop, I asked each club to provide a slide. Some interpreted that as multiple slides, and to make a report in 1 minute. And people didn't think they could do it, but actually what I did is I had a timer, on my phone, which I sort of held up as they were getting, and we pretty much covered it in the 15 minutes. We organized these by area, and our Area 1 director is on the call. So Liz, do you want to comment as I page through this? I think you didn't get slides from every club, but I think you've got most of them. So Liz?
Sorry, I have to mute. Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. So you can see, and for those of you who are, Area 1 is the clubs at Albany, Upper Hudson Valley, which is the area just south of Albany, Glens Falls, Montgomery Fulton Club, which is also Liz's club, and the Schenectady Club. And so there you go.
This was a recognition dinner, kind of like the Rose Award. They held it in the fall. This is from the Upper Hudson Valley Club. They recognized 3 women. One of the woman in the right with the red on, her name is Benita Zahn. She's a local TV journalist. They also recognized Kirsten Gillibrand, and then there was one other woman, and I don't know what her name is offhand, but it was a great event. They had a lot of prizes and a lot of raffles and things like that. It was nice. Yeah,
and the blonde woman to the others, Betty Sundstrom is in the white jacket, and the woman to the left is a local community activist, and actually the award being given to her probably drew the most participation. Okay, and this is also from the Upper Hudson Valley Club, and this was a one-time award. It was actually a bequest from Ethel Clapp, and that was given to a student, Amy Jacques, I think it was. And okay. Anything, I didn't mean to cut you off. Anything else, Liz? Anything about what other clubs are doing that might not have provided slides?
Is that the only one you had was from Upper Hudson Valley?
Yeah.
Albany, I haven't heard much from them, but actually they've been pretty good about, they had a International Women's Day luncheon, oh no, it wasn't a luncheon, excuse me, it was a dinner, and I attended, and that was very nice. And you probably could fill us in more because you're from that club.
Yes, well, they also screened the film Sold about human trafficking.
That's great.
Which the Syracuse Club had done in the fall. And Glens Falls did have an International Women's Day luncheon, and they brought in the Seroptimus Club in that area, and the local chapter of AAUW, American Association of University Women. And then Montgomery Fulton had its Soup Sunday last March, didn't it?
No,
month?
actually, we didn't have it this year, but we did have a very successful membership informational night. I kind of took some ideas. I didn't do bingo. I took some ideas from Teresa. We kind of had a little raffle and we gave away a dinner certificate, but we are actually looking to, we had 7 people interested, but we're looking to possibly induct in June 5 to 6 new members.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was huge for us. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Anything else about Montgomery Fulton?
We are going to have a dinner. It's actually our Rose Award dinner next week, which we are going to recognize Catholic Charities and specifically a woman that is involved with the domestic violence shelter and program.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great. And as I think many of you heard, the Schenectady Club observed its 90th anniversary in March, and they had a lovely dinner. The theme was hats off, and people wore hats from any time in the period covered by the club's history. And club members did presentations or songs or skits representing each decade since the 1920s. That was a good event. Okay, Teresa, let's see. I think we have slides from a couple of your clubs. So let's see. I think this is...
That starts with Syracuse. So can we go back one slide, please? It'll just keep me on track. Thank you. Well, real briefly, all the clubs are busy. You see here it says Penny Lee Davies, who's been a phenomenal asset to Zonta for a lot of years. Her mom is ill. She's elderly and fell and broke her leg. Penny has had to take a step down. So going forward to the next year, we'll have a different president, and I believe she's on the call, right, Barb?
Barbara Allen.
Barbara Allen. But they've been very busy doing lots of things, and most recently they tried to get a run off the ground to help fund the... Barb, do you want to say a word?
Oh, the National Women's Hall of Fame. There was a right to run road race, running the 19K running, 5K running, and walking in Seneca Falls to help raise money to complete the National Women's Hall of Fame. They're moving into a new building in Seneca Falls. And I asked my club and saw a few hands raised that people were interested in doing the 5K walk. It didn't come to fruition, but the race director is willing to come and talk to our club next year more about the National Women's Hall of Fame and things like that. So we didn't get a lot of runner or walkers, but
it's a start. We got on board a little bit late with that, but it was reaching out.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a good example in using the social media links that we have, though. That's given me some ideas for going forward and being able to communicate with a wider net in the future.
Good. Mm-hmm. And is Tammy Thompson on the call? I know she meant to be.
Yes, I am.
Hi, Tammy. Do you want to say a word? Remember, Marjorie's got the 1-minute timer on. So if you want to say a word about some of the fun things you're doing as we go, maybe the concert in June that you're sponsoring.
Yes, so one of our local Madrigal Women's Group is doing a Visions of Hope concert, kind of based off of the current political events that are happening in our country, as a great time for women and men to get together to raise their voices up in a positive attitude. So that's June 20th here in Oswego at First United Methodist Church. One of the other things that we're moving towards, we always have our Amelia dinner. We always used to do that in the fall to recognize a woman of distinction here in and around Oswego County. But we've decided this year to put it with our annual meeting, which is our meeting where we give our scholarships. We thought it would be nice for the scholarship winners to meet the woman of distinction, because that's our big fundraiser that helps to fund our scholarships. So that is coming up. That's actually June 20th. It's really exciting. We're honoring a club member who passed away this year, who was just an inspiration to all. She fought for women's rights, for children's rights, Billy Brady. So it's going to be a lovely celebration of Billy, life and her contributions to folks here in Oswego County and actually throughout New York State. And we'll be celebrating our scholarship winners. Yeah, we have we finally are over 31 members. Our take on membership is we encourage members to invite a new person to each of our meetings. Inducted our 31st member. We have been striving to do that for the last 2 or 3.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tammy.
Okay, then in Rome, Rome's been donating to a local women's shelter. They're also switching up their leadership mid-biennium. So stay tuned for more news from them. Is Christine Alexander on the call for Skinny Atlas? Okay, well, Skinny Atlas sponsored students so they could attend a local event celebrating women's thing. It was called, senior moment, forgot the name of it. Shoot, oh well. Anyhow, it was neat. And the big project they're doing, they're focusing on international issues. One of the members has ties in Kenya, and we're sponsoring, I'm a member of that club, so I can tell you we're sponsoring a women's maternity waiting facility so that pregnant women who are about to give birth can do so in a safe environment. And that's kind of a neat thing. They're doing a big fundraiser. Hope you can come out in August. Now some pictures from the Syracuse Club, and I know Nariman's on the call. So Nariman, if you want to chime in, feel free.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So what we did was a few months ago, we went to the Girl Scouts and we had them do hearts and write like messages for themselves, kind of more empowering and letting them know that they're special young girls that are, be growing up into the next generation of doing wonderful things. We had a lot of fun with it, and they, this is the second year that we've been there, and I'm definitely sure that we're going to be going back to doing more wonderful things for these young girls. And they were so much fun. They were just amazing. Their personalities are just so great.
They love the international aspect. Thank you, Nariman. And going back to the next one is Carla. Are you there, Carla? Can you unmute? They just had a wonderful, successful event in Utica.
Is this the right slide?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Carla Pierce from Utica. I think.
And I think Carla's on the call.
That's what I'm asking her. Are you there, Carla?
Remember to unmute.
All right. I don't think she's on, but I don't think she's. Oh, I think I heard magic. Is that you, Carla? Okay. Well, I'll move on. If you.
That's Susan leaving.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they had a big breakfast. Their annual event that raises a great deal of money. And if you turn the page, next slide, they had one of their younger members give the commercial about what is Zonta and what do we do and how can you join, which was great. And the next slide. Oh, this was a touching story. After all of the festivities finished at this brunch that had raffle baskets and it raised a great deal of money, it was a full house. It looked like I'd say maybe 400 to 500 people present. It was a big event. Behind the young girl is a coat check area, and she was the volunteer who did the coat check. And after she had heard all about Zonta, she took her $50 of tips and handed it to the club president and said, I want to support your organization. So I thought that was pretty terrific.
That is so sweet.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Okay, and area 3, is Victoria on the call?
She should be.
I saw her. I haven't looked at the participants list.
She's working in the background, I think. Unmute if you're on.
Okay, well.
Try going to 4 and then we'll come back to 3.
Okay. And I don't think Colleen is on the call. Well, I'm not sure. But at any rate,
Can Val tell us what Ottawa's doing?
Well, it's better that Susie tells you.
okay, Susie, are you still on the call?
No, she left.
I can tell you that Ogdensburg had a terrific Orange Your Town celebration for the, and this is also Ogdensburg. Well, so they got a bunch of light bulbs, orange light bulbs in and tried to orange their world. They did a nice 16 days of activism. And then in the next picture was their witch's ball. And Candace's, I know she's got a witch's hat that goes great with us. These ladies all dressed up and they just had a great time. It was like a witch's night out, and that raised a good deal of money for them. They've been very, very active.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing anything from Victoria.
I'm here. I had to take my dog out. So.
Okay. You want to go back to area 3?
Yeah, it should be up on the screen now.
There it is.
Okay. I'm not sure. I know Bonnie is here from Portland. Are any of the other clubs represented on this?
Doreen was at the live event.
Right.
I don't think there's anyone from Watkins Glen. Auburn, I'm not sure. There's
Anybody from Auburn speak up? I tried to look through the list of participants that show up here and I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I'm going to start.
By the way.
Who am I speaking over? Sorry. So Auburn is a very hardworking club. They do a personal care product drive for area food pantries. On a quarterly basis, they provide soup kitchen staffing. Annually, they hold a December gala to support grandparents raising their grandkids. It's a very nice event. Bonnie, I'll let you talk about Portland, if you're still there.
And remember to unmute.
Yeah. I know she's
Bonnie needs to unmute. I can see that she's here, but her mic is still muted.
okay. Well, I'm going to move on to Elmira while, oh, nope, you're unmuted. Okay, Bonnie, are you there? Nope. I'm seeing things.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting. So Cortland does a couple different functions. We just finished our Women of Achievement function, which is honoring local women that achieve in our area, and that was very successful. And something that has grown every year. There was 2 dignitaries in the area. And we also do a fashion show, a fall fashion show, which we're gearing up for. We also always look to do something different too. I've got a couple ideas moving forward, even though I'll be vice president. I'm just ending my term as president, but I've got a couple ideas. I just spoke to someone recently, so I do have a couple ideas moving forward for our new president-elect. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Victoria?
No, I think you covered it. We're supposed to be limited to a minute, so we'll talk that. Elmira Club recently held a Status of Women event, which included a panel of speakers presenting information about current efforts to encourage young women to enter STEM areas of study, using a STEM-based background to enrich high school students' experiences in the sciences and the outlook for science careers for women today, which is very timely. I don't hear from Watkins Glen, Montour Falls, and if anyone has a phone number for Trudy Collins, would they please share it with me, because the one I have does not work. And my emails don't get returned or responded to. So if anybody has any contact information with anybody in the Watkins Glen, Montour Falls, please let them know. I am trying to connect with them.
Yeah, and Victoria, I'll be able to do that through Merriam-Webster.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so our next presentation is on gender equality. And
can I say something about Montreal Club Area 4?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
Yeah. And I'll say something then about Ottawa Club Area 4.
Okay, in March, we had a very successful International Women's Day celebration. We had over about 50 people, and we gave out door prizes, and we had the Raging Grannies present, which was a big hit with everybody. So that was our success story for March. And I think we had the awards night where Marjorie was present, and she was our guest over there. And we gave out the awards for our young women in public affairs, and in the not Jane Klausman, the, what is the other award we have?
Jean Kuhn?
Jean Kuhn, sorry, thank you. And we had an Amelia Earhart Fellow in Montreal, so we gave out an award to her. And we had door prizes there too. And so we have these two major events in the year, which brings in a lot of networking and brings exposure to the club.
Thanks, Dolly. And Val?
We have an awards evening coming up on Wednesday. And Marjorie, I think you're coming. And if you need a bed, let me know. I'll be happy to have you here.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to that. We will also be having on, I think it's June the 25th, a musical afternoon with refreshments. And this is to be held at the home of one of our members who has been very instrumental in getting this established. It's a fundraiser. We're charging $50. They're Canadian dollars, a ticket. And we're hoping that we'll raise money for a project that we're embarking upon to help in the establishment of 42 apartments in a building that was previously a convent.
Wow.
This is a project that's being led by an organization called Cornerstone, and they have invited a lot of community groups to participate in this. And we're quite excited about the prospects of this. We haven't decided finally what we'll do, but we will be having a planning meeting in September to identify a strategy for raising money and so on to help with that.
Oh, thanks so much, Val. Teresa, I have now made you the host, so you should see a button that says new share. I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint.
Okay, and I should share my screen.
Yes. And what you should see at the bottom is a little green, looks almost like a suitcase or a little box. Okay.
Hang on 1 second. I gotta, how do I do this? 1 second, guys. All right. So does everybody see a thing that says?
Zonta, gender equality, and you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
If I could only get rid of this toolbar here. Do you also see the pictures of yourselves?
For those,
yes.
Yeah.
How do I get rid of that now? Let's see. Hide. Stop recording. Optimize. Well, if someone can figure out how to hide this toolbar, that will be nice. In the meantime, I'll just put it down. Okay. Well, here we go. Zonta, gender equality, and you. Why are we talking about this? Well, first of all, it's the centennial anniversary of Zonta, and when you think about it, the women who founded Zonta, they couldn't vote. Women's suffrage didn't come to the U.S. and Canada until just after the founding of Zonta. And a cool little story about the 19th Amendment in the U.S., the Constitution. It passed by one vote. And that's only because, well, the story goes that the representative's mother called him and told him he better do the right thing. So yay for the moms. Yes, we have had much progress in the last 100 years. It is not our grandmother's world. It is not even our own mother's world. And in our 45-minute presentation, Victoria, Marjorie, and I at the live workshop went into some detail, more detail than we'll have today. But I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest versions and hopefully have the main points come across. Zonta's mission. Okay, how come it's not moving?
Is the slide supposed to move?
Yes. Hang on.
Oh, good.
That's me and my husband, because we're on vacation right now. That's the ocean. But we tuned in because this was important. So Zonta's mission. Zonta International is a leading global organization of professionals empowering women through service and what? Advocacy. And what is advocacy? It's the expression of support for or in opposition to a cause, argument, or proposal. Advocacy includes influencing laws, legislation, or what? Attitudes. It's talking about the public interest, the greater good, and Zonta International, its districts, and its club shall be nonpartisan and non-sectarian. Can't say it today. First day with the new teeth, but you got it. Well, if this is all good and we've made all this progress, why are the women marching again? Activists and advocates for women rallied on January 21st to send a message that women's rights are human rights. And I'm going to be sending you some slides from the different marches. If Zonta clubs were interested, they were invited by Zonta International to take part in their local clubs, in their local areas walks. And this was to demonstrate their commitment to women's rights. These are some of the slides. I hope you see the slides less blurry than I'm seeing them.
They look pretty good, Teresa.
Oh, good. And I love this. By the way, I went to Seneca Falls with District 2, and my husband did too. And I particularly liked this one. This was the one that you see here with the red, white, and blue. This was the main one for, I said because my screen just disappeared.
Oh, it's back.
Whoa, hang on a minute. All right. That was the main image for that event. Lots of people turned out, lots and lots. This one's Washington. I thought this was interesting. Asian ladies, we'll be talking about stereotypes in a minute. And here, District 2 was fortunate to be so close to where the women's movement began, the historic Seneca Falls. This was the little pin that people had from the area. And the purple and white were the colors that the suffragists wore then. But here's the color that we wore. These are all the different clubs. Christine Alexander had the big sign made, and we wrote in the different clubs that took part. We tried to wear orange, which is the color of Zonta Says No. We carried our banners, and you'll see the little lady right there. That was from Area 2 Club, which was kind of neat. And we had a lot of different people participate, which was great. It was a peaceful, lovely, beautiful day. So one of the other things that we did right there was we handed out literature about Zonta. You know, we always hope to meet somebody who's interested in women's issues and cares enough to get off their best intentions and out of their house to do something about it. And holy cow, there were 10,000 women there, men and women, and they are all like-minded. So we found it to be a very unique opportunity to spread the word about this commitment to women's rights.
Teresa, where are you?
Participated, Marjorie got a few phone calls.
Teresa,
And, and at World War II, and there were mixed feelings. People saw those women with those rights. They saw them as troublemakers. We're going to talk about that. And feminism has become the new F word. There's a lot of people saying, I'm not a feminist. Well, you know what? A feminist is a person who believes in social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. It's not the castrating man-haters wearing sensible shoes. And you know this is true because men are feminists too. So the next section is, aren't we done yet? Women are equal now, so what's all the fuss? Well, women all around the world are not so equal. And by the way, I'm going to be using some cartoons by a wonderful female cartoonist, Liz Donnelly. This is one of hers. And I thought this was kind of funny. She tries to bring about social change through her cartoons. So if you see a cartoon, I didn't do it, it's Liz. Okay, so women are equal now. And sometimes you hear this, hey, what's wrong with you? You must be overreacting. Don't you have a sense of humor? Are you a bit frigid? Can't you take a compliment? Yes, women are equal now, more or less. So why are we making a fuss? Well, because we can't solve a problem if everyone doesn't agree that it exists. And how do we know that it exists? Where are the women leaders? How come the CEOs of big companies are not females? Where are the leaders in our government? How come less than 20% in the US, one of the advanced countries, doesn't have female representation when we're more than half of the population? Canada's doing a marvelous job. They're getting a lot of people in parliament as marvelous that are female. What else can we look at? Owners of Fortune 500 companies or CEOs of companies, the STEM fields, we could go on and on, but we're condensing 45 minutes into 12, so we're not going to go on too much, but do check it out. It's true. The women leaders are not there. And yes, our country's not so bad, neither is Canada. And you know what? Some countries have it much worse. If you remember our Zonta mission, we talk about the advancement of women's status economically. And poverty and economics are related. Worldwide, 70% of our poor are women. And Zonta International is committed to expanding women's access to skills, training, etc., so that they can have economic independence. So to this end, we support programs that increase women's access to financial resources and generate higher wages. Now, women are equal now, more or less. So what's the big fuss? Yes, in some countries, they're still throwing acid. There's Sharia law. There's more violence than we have in Canada and in the US. But you know what? 1 out of 3 people are still getting raped. Our females who go to school, secondary school, 1 out of 5 there. So this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The pyramid starts on the bottom. Our physiological needs, food, clothing, and shelter. And Mita pointed out sex is part of that. Yes, our physiological needs. And then our need for safety. We're doing good. I mean, most of us, not everybody, there's still poor who are hungry in our countries, but more or less we're pretty okay in that department. Safety is improving. But the other needs are just as important. The feeling of belonging, it's a foundational item. In order to be your best self, you have to be able to belong. You have to have good esteem and self-actualization. Now the stories. A leader is a storyteller, and we each need to know how to tell some stories. Perhaps you have your own. There was a young lady who who opened a, I want to give you her name, but it's escaping me at the moment. She did a website. I'll come to it in a second. She did a YouTube video, and but it's about her website where she listed. Well, this is how it started. 3 things happened to her in 1 week. A trucker said to her, "Hey, nice tits," and she was shocked. But she didn't do anything about it. She kept going. But the next time she went out to run, she didn't feel so comfortable. And one of our very young Zontians told a story about a very similar story. And she said that she hadn't gone jogging after that. And it wasn't, you may say, well, what was she wearing? It's not about that. Anyhow, this lady started a website and said, please share your stories. And it was amazing how many stories were shared. She thought she might get 3 or 4, maybe 8. Well, it was in the thousands. And I'll share that with you. There's a female attorney in Zonta she's a financial partner in her firm, and new people come in and they see her and they say, excuse me, honey, do you know where the attorneys are? They don't even think she's an attorney. How about the female doctor who came into a private room to tell a family a story about the patient, and they said, well, we prefer to talk to the doctor. Well, she was the doctor. And how many times have we been in a room where the female speaks and no one hears her, but the male says the same thing?
Exactly.
And is praised. So what I'd like to talk to you now about is gender microaggressions. I did a little survey before our last workshop with Zonta members, and most people did not even know the term. They weren't familiar. The only one who did was someone who was in education. Gender microaggressions, GMA, and it's not the morning TV show. This topic is now taught in mainstream universities around the world. There's classes and there's even a major in it. So what is it? Gender microaggressions are subtle words, phrases, or actions that reinforce gender stereotypes and sexism, and it separates them from the group. Remember we talked to you about belonging? How about this one? You're pretty for a black girl. So now she's not part of her group? I don't get it. These gender microaggressions are perpetrated by men and women. And most times, people who use them, they don't mean any harm. Sometimes they think they're giving you a compliment. But these are based on stereotypes. And certain phrases have become naturalized, like, you run like a girl. Look where it begins. When a woman speaks up and asserts herself, she definitely becomes, quote, the angry bitch whose opinion doesn't matter. But we're taught this stuff early, and this is called implicit gender bias. Sexism is ingrained and it's subconscious, like malware on a computer. You don't even know it's there. Our brains get inundated with so much data. The brain starts to take shortcuts and it kind of sees patterns and it organizes information without really thinking about it. And we end up seeing men as in charge, men as taking charge, and women as taking care. We see men as providers. We may think we have equality, but our subconscious gender stereotypical beliefs exist, both in men and in women, and in Zonta members. This tends to categorize people on the basis of their visible characteristics, such as gender, race, or age. Implicit bias occurs when a person conscientiously rejects stereotypes. So maybe even us, we reject stereotypes, but unconsciously we make evaluations based on them. So we've got to become aware of these and push back, because the enemy that you can't see is the most dangerous. Gender microaggressions are meant to keep us in our place. Please finish the sentence. A woman's place is in the blank.
Corporate office.
A woman's place is in the blank. Usually they
In the
say
world.
the House. But I want to say to you, if you also said in the Senate, then you got bonus points. Verbal assaults and insults are part of the GMA. I'm going to just call it that to make it quick. Things like name calling, the C word, the P word. These are demeaning. It's invalidations, things that nullify or negate her experience. Like when people say, and you hear men and women say this, feminism isn't needed. Gender microaggressions are brief, they're commonplace, and they occur on a daily basis. How about female athletes who who can't just be, but they have to be beautiful and sexy? I'll bet you the jogger, when she went out, had to think about what she wore. Where a guy will just put on clothes and go out. They didn't put on any makeup and they didn't have to do their hair. So what are some other examples of gender microaggressions that you may have heard throughout your life? Well, here's some example of some sexist comments I'm sure you've heard once or twice. First of all, Victoria, this is the one we forgot at the workshop, but it was so important to our team. Any comment whatsoever about the female leader's clothing. We are so much more than what we look like. How about this? Oh, you're too pretty to be taken seriously. Won't your kids distract you from work? What does your husband think about that? Girls, they're just not any good at science. Honey, sweetie, sugar. Can you imagine those terms being said to a fella? How about this one? You should smile more. Or women are too emotional. So that project that I was telling you about that you can look up is called the Everyday Sexism Project. And there's a nice video right on YouTube. I can give you the link later on. So what are the results of all these things? Well, it makes women doubt themselves, second guess themselves. It makes us fearful. You don't even want to go out running in the street with it. Get your health or go to the gym. You can't even go to your car alone because you're fearful. And it makes us self-conscious. And it even makes us hate our bodies because we're told that we're supposed to be a certain size. So we need to tell these stories. Where do we tell them? Everywhere. At the dinner table, in society, to our children, boys and girls. And if we're going to solve this problem, this is the image that you're seeing now. This woman, I think it was in Georgia, she put these signs up in public so people could see them. And it's like a walking path of these signs. And that was her way of making a statement about this street harassment. So, solutions. First of all, number one, adopt two things. I would like each and every one of you to write these two things down right now. You've got to adopt these two premises because we're all different. We're different politically. And in
Teresa, we lost your voice.
We did?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Oh, I started talking quiet.
Okay. No, the video feed with your voice was very garbled. And are we supposed to be looking at a list on the screen now or still the pink sign?
Still the pink sign. Writing down two.
Yes, now we're writing down two premises.
Thank you, Barb. Number one, I value your truth. So if you're talking to somebody who is on the other end of the spectrum from you, guess what? Her truth is just as important as yours. And this is a biggie. And especially I find this with Zonta members who are often owners of their own company, who have never had to experience some of the stuff that young women today do. And if we're trying to have young women be part of our organization, we got to understand this, ladies. And it's this: just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean that it didn't happen. As I've gotten older, I've not experienced as much street harassment, but I'm starting to feel that invisible thing, as elders sometimes do. So the two premises: I value your truth, and just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean it didn't happen. So be sure that you're accepting. Next solution: decide to better understand. And how can you do this? You can build your awareness through reading books. You can search social media using hashtags. On the hashtags, I'd like for you to use them, search them, understand them. Here's a couple of them. There's a handout that goes with this that I guess, Marjorie, we can get to everybody who took part in this webinar today. And you want to recognize sexism in yourself and in others. Be quicker to respond to it, especially if you are a member of the majority and you hear a dynamic. When you're a member of majority and you hear somebody saying, doing a sexism thing, you have a very powerful position at that point. You can say, hey, let's let her talk. And we teach our sons this too. Hey, let's let her talk. And we should all be open to being wrong and apologize quickly. It happens. You know what? It happened to me today. I was looking at my cousin's Facebook pictures as I was getting ready to take part in this event. And my cousin's son was going to the prom. He had a beautiful black tuxedo on, and he had pink shoes on. And the first thing I thought is, that's a girl color. And I realized I did it myself.
Teresa,
Yes.
we're past 11:30, so.
Okay, I'll wrap up.
Thank you.
You can get other ideas on TED Talks. And this is one of our Portland Club sons, Boys Will Be Good Humans. And recognize and report it. You're the deputy. Cultivate conversations. It should not be taboo to talk about this stuff. If we're going to get it out there and get it on an equality basis, we need to talk about it. So in conclusion, it isn't over. Small changes have big impact. Change takes time. Words have power. Speak up. And anyone in Zonta looking for the advancement of women and gender equality cannot stay quiet or close their eyes. So you can be part of the change. Be the cool aunt who buys her niece a science microscope. Our voices are loudest when we raise them together. And the most, I forgot about those, sorry about that. The worst thing than being blind is having sight and no vision. Let's envision equality. Let's envision a world where women's rights are equal rights. And let's encourage people to join Zonta. The end.
Okay, thanks, Teresa. And if you could click on stop
I'm trying to
sharing.
find it. I can't find it. Oh, there's, got it.
Okay, and now I'm going, and we are just about back to, okay. Okay, and I'm not sure how I ended up.
I think you're on the right side. What's coming up?
What I'm seeing is the first slide.
Go to the next one, maybe.
Okay, I think okay, well, okay.
Try going backwards. Well, it's just basically the list was what with the couple of dates coming up. Maybe we could just say them verbally.
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to remind you that the district conference is October 20th through the 22nd of this year, 2017. It will be in Latham, which is just outside Albany, near the Albany airport. And don't forget that our international conference is in 2018, and that is in Yokohama, Japan. And I did have a nice slide thanking you all, and I'm not sure quite how I've, okay, so at any rate, thanks to all of you for taking the time out of your weekend, and I think it's a lovely weekend, you know, most of the places that you are. And we will, this has been recorded, and you will make it available and also make the PowerPoint available. So at this point, I will just say thanks to everyone. And I've stopped the sharing since that's not the slide that I want. I am going to end the meeting now, and yeah, thanks to all of you. And you don't really need to do anything to exit the meeting. I'll just do that, and it'll close it out for all of you. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.